Hey, folks. One of the things that puzzles me about the reaction to the election of Zoran Mamdani as mayor of New York is the way in which his opponents are looking at this. I don't mean that they shouldn't be horrified or that they should think it's a great thing that he was elected. I mean, I think they still don't actually grasp the enormity of what's going on here. Even when they're ridiculing him, talking about the crazy idea to create city grocery stores and this kind of thing, they seem to be viewing this whole thing still through the lens of how a conventional politician, speaking very broadly, would proceed. In other words, Zoran, who is a radical communist, still is somehow perceived as being required to proceed as all mayors before him have proceeded, functioning within the boundaries of the law and the Constitution. Why? This guy is a communist, a revolutionary, in addition to being a radical Islamist. I mean, he belongs to the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America. They use the term socialist because they think it sounds kinder and warmer and fuzzier, but look, they are revolutionary communists. Take a look at their platform online. It doesn't pull any punches. The United States is a prison state. Their verbiage, not mine. Founded by slavers and other unsavory types, and their purpose, again, their verbiage, not mine, is to destroy what they call the American empire. So these guys are not about tinkering around the edges. They're about burning the whole thing down and replacing it with a communist state. So now their standard bearer is mayor of the largest city in the country. Why do we think that the only thing that he's going to do will be measures that can proceed and be enacted via existing legal and constitutional means? It's not how revolutionaries work. That's not how communists work. So what's that look like? What am I conjuring up here? Well, Zoran says, for instance, that there shouldn't be any private housing. He wants to decommodify it, his word. In other words, all housing, apartments, homes, everything, should be owned by the state and then should form communes. He wants to seize all of your condos, all of your apartments, all of your houses. All of that should belong to the state. Okay. What happens when the residents of a large apartment building in New York declare themselves a commune, stop paying rent, and seize the property? In other words, what happens when they act in response to his wording, when they carry out what he says he wants to have happen? Is Zoran Mamdani's administration going to step in and take back control of that? No. And once that starts, it'll go on all over the city. In other words, revolutionary communes will simply occupy and take control of housing. What happens when, this is a guy who says that he wants to effectively abolish the existing criminal justice system, defund the police, all of this other. So what happens when a big chunk of Queens just announces, we're an autonomous zone? We've seen those before. And NYPD is not welcome here and we'll police ourselves. Is Zoran Mamdani sending in anybody to take back control of that area? Obviously not. He'll probably appear with them on the barricades. And keep in mind, by the way, I don't really mean to suggest that all of these things are going to happen spontaneously, and then he'll be limited to how he reacts to them, right? That's not how this will play. He can instigate these things. He can, behind the scenes, be part of making this happen, and then appear and support it. Colleges, universities, we've seen them occupied in New York City, buildings seized, people harassed, again, sort of autonomous zones declared. Well, NYPD's not going in when the mayor is standing on the campus of Columbia University cheering on the radicals who have now occupied the property. This is how communist revolutions take place. Lenin didn't take control in Russia via democratic means. The Tsar was removed from power, a democratic assembly was put in place, and then Lenin and the Bolsheviks staged a coup and seized control, and that was the end of democracy. So, if you think the worst this is going to be is incompetence and flailing around, I think you're missing the point. The man is a true revolutionary at the head of a revolutionary movement, and he means what he says. So, buckle up, New York.